welcome our good friend, Kara Margotto. Hey, girl, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I brought you on because you got some pretty exciting things going on with your preschool. But before we talk about that, let's bring you back to where you were before all of this. Okay, so nobody really knows your backstory. So go ahead and share with what was your life like before you met me, and what were some of the things you were struggling with.
Yeah. So I've been a preschool all-star for about a year and a half. So we're
Nice.
going back about a year and a half.
Yeah.
But so before all this, I am a career center director for like corporate big name daycare centers.
Mm.
Moving up the ranks, was one of the youngest directors at the time for the entire nation. Worked for that company for a few years, left and actually went to the Cayman Islands to be the director of a play school there, a play-based educational facility there for
Yeah.
special needs kids, particularly kids on the spectrum.
Mm.
And then in 2018, we moved back to the States after having our first child. So left America in 15, came back in 18, went back to the previous company because we literally left to be like, we're going to go live on an island. No bad
Yeah.
blood. See y'all later.
Wow. Yeah.
Came back, went back to that company, got put right back in position, all those
Mm.
things. Mind you, my main role as a director for this company was to go into schools in my district that were failing and revamp and flip them.
Wow.
Like I was the director of the center, but everyone knows like when she comes in, stuff's going to happen.
Watch out, right?
You better be ready to play because we
Yeah.
are good. Because it was like my mission was if I did not succeed at that, then when that building's lease was up, they would close the facility.
Wow.
So we did not want that to happen.
Mhm.
Um, it was great. I loved it. But now, we've moved back to the States. I have a child. I'm married. I'm not the 22-year-old single woman who is a people pleaser, completely dedicated to work and has nothing else to do. Like, I'm kind of mad I'm working 70 hours a week now
Wow.
instead of
Yeah.
like, I got that. No
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
And then COVID hits, and I'm pregnant, and it's high risk pregnancy,
Mm.
and I'm still having to do all these things.
Mhm.
Um, And I, through all of that, just got completely burnt out. I decided to take a step back. And oddly enough, I was taking a step back by leaving that company because of the high demand and high stress.
Mm.
Like, I was sick. I was close to probably a mental breakdown. I never saw my kids. My marriage was in shambles. Just a whole lot of really bad stuff. I was not in
Yeah.
a good place. I
Mhm.
wasn't taking care of myself. And I decided I needed to change my environment, which meant leaving the place that I was stuck
Yeah.
70 plus hours a week.
Mhm.
Or even once I leave, I'm not done working. Like I'd come home, put the kids to bed, sit on the couch, and then I'd be working for this other person
Yep.
until midnight, 2 a.m.
Yep.
because their philosophy was we hired you to we pay you to do a job, not work 40 hours a week. So you will work until the job is done.
Mm.
Um, so it got to be really hard. So I left and I joined another company, a smaller company, a local company, where I was basically moving up the ladder. I became executive director over all of their locations in Louisville. Um, but I only worked 40 hours a week.
Wow.
um, the problem with that was I call it my pregnancy job because I was only there for 9 months.
Yeah.
So after that gestational period, I guess, I was given the opportunity, is how I like to phrase it,
That's a nice way.
to, well, because that is truly like I found what happened to be a blessing in disguise. Because
Yes.
ever since I was very young, I knew that what I wanted to do was to open and run and operate my own preschool or daycare, some sort of
Yeah.
early childhood facility. And
Yeah.
that's literally what my degree is in. It's in daycare operations, essentially.
Mhm.
Um, so I was like, they don't know it, but they just gave me the time to actually do this.
Wow.
Because even with having less hours, I was using those hours to be with my family. I wasn't going to have
Mhm.
time to work a side thing or
Right.
whatever. Like I was like, I
Mhm.
finally have this time. So I took it as a blessing in disguise, started looking things up and just working on my family. But yeah, before this whole crazy process that I found through you, I was one of those directors that was just worked to the bone
Mm.
and was doing what they had to do to survive. And I really, a lot of people are like, it's kind of cliche. Everyone says it now, but I literally was surviving, not thriving at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
was
Okay, so we've set the ground.
yeah.
We've set the ground. All right. We know where Kara was at before. And then how'd you circle into my world?
Honestly, what it was is I kind of knew things were coming to a head at the company I had transferred to. And so
Mhm.
I started, looking up like different business mentors, looking up how to start my daycare. Like I know the laws, I know how everything daycare, preschool, because they're all legal, for the regulations, they're all kind of all in
Right.
one.
Mhm.
I know all that stuff like the back of my hand.
Mhm.
Um, I know NACI, I know stars, I know all of it. I
Mhm.
don't know how to actually start a business. I don't
Right.
know any of that.
Yeah.
And somehow I don't know if it popped up on a Facebook ad or in a Google search. I honestly don't remember.
Right.
Could have been either, but your book came up.
Yeah.
And so this is like May. So outside of preschool all-star open door season.
Mhm. Yep.
And I got the book and it came and I just immediately started doing the things in the book. I think by like page 5, I was like, okay, she knows what's up. Like, and so I started, going through the book and going through the book. And I was about, I want to say, not even halfway through.
Yeah.
And then I obviously by now had gotten into the free group, like where we are
Yes.
tonight.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like one day in June, you were like, I'm doing a random like summer open the doors.
Yeah.
I was like, what have I got to lose? Like, I'm now like I'm already sitting at home during the day going through the book, like might as
Mhm.
well get a little support.
Yeah.
So I did my first 7-day challenge with that like surprise
Yeah.
opening of the doors and hit the ground running and just I like immediately like not only did the 7-day but went through the first 30 days
Mhm.
and I got it done in 30 days. Like it was hard work.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I did. So
So what
glad
did
I
you
did.
start with first? Did you start with online or local first?
I started with online first.
Okay.
I started that. So I kind of took a little while to do all because I wanted everything done
Yeah.
where it was online. So I recorded a couple of classes first
Uh-huh.
and I did live and Zoom classes, like the preschool pals and the teaching time
Mhm.
together and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I started little, I really did, but I started strong. It
Yeah.
was people that I knew my whole life. They trusted me. So, I mean, when I officially launched that, like
Mhm.
I got 2 kids to like just test. I was like, "Hey, I'll give you this if you give me feedback before I like
Right.
officially do anything." So that was
Mhm.
kind of July. And then in August, I officially launched that. And I started with just 3 kids, 3 paid kids. And
Yeah.
I did have 2 kids on scholarship, which at that point was just me giving it to them for free.
Right.
But, um, and then, well, I guess with that, I did the script, which helped me get funding.
Mhm.
I met my goals. So we started small, but we started strong. And
Yeah.
then using all of that, like income the little bit of income I had, I used that as
Mhm.
capital
Yeah.
and launched my in home in October. No,
Right.
November. Sorry.
Yeah.
Launched that in November. And I again started with 1 kid, but by December had 2. And then by March I had 3. And now we have 4.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I heard that you're even on the hunt for a building.
Who did you hear that from?
Am I wrong?
No.
Is it
No,
am I
no,
right?
I think yeah, you're right. It's
Okay,
because
because
of
I'm like, "Oh,
it's
man, I'm
because
sorry
of
if I'm mixing you with
nope,
that All Star."
nope, it's because of my post last
Yeah,
Thursday.
that's why I
My
was like, "Wait, what's the building fund? Tell me about that."
Yeah, so basically, one of my creative background resources that I do to save money is I do part-time event bartending and catering
Yeah,
for a local um, event planning company,
yeah.
basically. And they do a lot of like the downtown, like night festivals and markets, like the little local fairs and things like that.
Mhm.
And so the second Thursday of every month, there is a specific event, and I am the only bartender for that event. And
Yeah.
so they let me market what I do. And so every time I bartend, I actually take my tips and put it into my scholarship fund. And I
Oh,
market it that way on Facebook too. Like
yeah.
when I'm prepping for the event, like, hey, don't forget, even though there's other bartenders, my tips are going to the
Oh,
school. You're
that's
helping the
cool.
kids. And I
Yeah,
do actually do the money with that.
right.
Well, things have really been progressing, and I have been talking with someone that had said they wanted to be like a private angel investor, and they told me that when I was ready they
Yeah,
would help me with the building. And I actually, like, I don't, I've just been putting it in the universe, so like whatever you believe,
right.
but I'm like, this is going to happen this
Yeah,
year. And it actually
yeah.
started with Phoenix Journey. I was like, that's my goal, is in the next year I will have a building.
Wow.
So I was just looking, I was just messing around, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I could afford this on a lease right now. Like,
Wow.
we could do this. And so I immediately, so like this was Wednesday last week, immediately was on Thursday, like, it's not going to the scholarship fund anymore. It's going to the building fund. Because now,
Yeah,
like, I just was like, boom, I'm making it. We now have a building fund.
right.
Um, I sent them proof of earnings and cash flow yesterday, and we should have the draft of the lease on Monday.
Wait, hold up. My mind glossed for 1 second. You send in the money, you should have everything locked down by Monday?
The lease, like
The
to
lease, yeah.
review and like go over
It's
and all
under
that stuff.
contract? It will
Yeah.
be? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I wasn't wrong to talk about a building.
No. And and it's my birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday. Come on. What?
But even like, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to talk to Joy on my birthday. But not only that, like, I feel like all this building stuff, like, and for some
Yeah.
reason, October's just always kind of been my month.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's because it's October. Like, this is
Just
gonna
just
happen.
keep going, right? The wind is on your back. Run,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, until the sun stops coming in December, and then we'll fall down and take our seasonal nap. But, for now, we're just gonna
No, you're gonna be too busy. You got a building to
Yeah,
fill up.
true, true. So,
Wow, okay.
very scary and
Yeah,
intimidating, but definitely I feel is happening in the right time and for a reason,
yeah.
and I know we're gonna kill it. We're gonna crush it. So
So, this is a perfect conversation to have actually because some women think that the first step is to go get a building. Now, I have my own reasons, but let's hear from you. Why do you think it was beneficial for you to start out with online and then local, even with one, two, three, four students, then work into a building? Why not why didn't you just run for a building the first, month?
yeah. So honestly, I don't have a lot of connections. My family is small. My net is small but growing,
Yeah.
especially a year and a half ago. We aren't even from the place that we now live. Like, we're
Mm,
back in the States, but we're not from
yeah.
Kentucky. We're from Wisconsin.
Right.
Like, we know our work friends, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of friends that do investing and da, 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 da. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, I obviously have to get myself some capital before I can just dump
Yeah.
things in,
Right.
especially after moving country twice. Like, that takes
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're not just moving to a different house, you're moving countries.
Right. Right.
Um, but so for me, it really was just making that little mini nest egg, making sure that I had a little bit of a presence first, so maybe I don't have to blitz quite as hard with
Yeah.
marketing because I'm paying rent or have a mortgage due, or,
Yes.
in my house, I'm already paying the mortgage. I'm already paying the lights. I'm already paying the
Yep.
phone bill. So,
Yep.
it was kind of a no-brainer with the other than like the mentorship and the membership to PAS, like zero capital.
Yeah.
I have all the things. My kids, I'm an early childhood
Right.
professional. Like my
Yeah.
house is already set up in centers to keep my kids from
I love
fighting with
that.
each other.
Right.
Like friends have literally come over the years and been like, why are you working for these people? You literally have a block
Right.
center and a home living, like, what
Right.
are you doing? And I'm like, I don't have, so, I was kind of like, why would I do anything else right away? And that's
Mm.
also why I started with online first, because that
Yeah.
was even less that I needed. I
Yeah.
have a camera, I have a laptop, I have the stuff. I ordered a few extra things that I wanted to be fancy for
Yeah.
online, like a dry erase board.
Right. So
But,
fancy.
ooh, um, that allowed me the time to, kind of build that know, like, trust and get some people behind me other than,
Mm.
my 5 friends that live here, like,
Right.
get the online connections and, the little
Yeah.
degrees of separation through the web.
Right.
Um, so for me, that was an important aspect, and it made it a lot easier when I did transition because, I mean, one of the first tours I had when I moved to in-home was,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I've been following you because my friend is so and so blah
Wow.
blah blah. And
Yeah.
I think that, you don't always notice the reach that you have,
Mhm.
even when you're just doing it quietly. As long as
Right.
you're doing it, that's
Yeah.
the key. That's the
Yeah,
key.
yeah,
So
yeah. Right. Wow. Like, and I think you've said 2 important things. Like, number 1 is, like, that know, like, trust factor. You've gotta build that. Like, there is a runway, and we need the bigger runway that we can to fill our preschool. The second one is getting that momentum under you. And there are so many things you have to do in the first, 30 days as you set up a business, and just all the things that your brain has to think about and answer questions and break through mental roadblocks over and over, right? You're really pushing yourself. And you have to have that momentum under you to like propel you with confidence, right? Like, in getting those first signups is a huge confidence boost, versus like, okay, cool, like, oh, it's working out and I'm going to get a building. And then it's like, you got the pressure on your back of a lease due in 30 days. And will you sign up in 30 days? That's like, now you got this
right.
pressure. Who needs the pressure? Like, let's give ourselves a little break. I feel like we're all under
Right.
pressure, right?
Well, and I think that's part of it now that you touch on it too, is because I already have that, I'm even if I can't fill the lease right away with like
Yeah.
X amount of kids, like because of what I have been able to save with the way I've
Mhm.
done it,
Yeah.
I have the cushion to sign the lease for next month, but not actually move to December and
Yeah.
still teach the kids I have in my house while I'm going there on the weekend and doing an open house,
Yeah. Cool.
while I'm going to the festival and saying, new location coming
Yeah.
December 1st or
Right.
whatever the Monday would be,
Yeah.
Um, and to be able to build that traffic with
Yeah.
still pressure. Like I still got to do it,
Right.
but it's not like, oh.
Well, I'm so excited that we had to talk to you, like, during this time when it's literally the
Yeah,
moment of a milestone. If there was any women listening who are on the fence about joining Preschool All Stars when it's opening up in just a few days, what would you say to them?
just do it. Like, don't it's I mean, and, just being honest, when I did this even, I had done a couple MLMs and I was like, I sell the other person's daycare all day, every day. I have
Right.
the best books. I have the wait list out the door,
Yeah.
all the things, but that stuff, no. And so my husband was like, all right, we'll throw it on the credit card, but you better not be giving up on this one in 6 months. And I was like, I won't.
Yeah, I
I
like that.
won't because it's what I actually have a passion for. It's
Mhm.
not something else to try to make the other thing work.
Yeah.
It's this is what I have wanted to do. And um just the guidance, how even where I said earlier, the business is what I didn't know, like how to get
Mhm.
an LLC, where to go to find in your state to do the LLC, and like
Yeah.
I know the licensing, I know all that stuff. I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about the business,
Right.
side. That alone is more than worth its weight in anything because you make
And
it
that's
one,
just like that's like
that's like the
one day's
tiny
worth.
yeah. How to build a website. I know how to code. I know how to do things.
Right.
I'm a pretty tech. Do I know how to build a website from scratch? No.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to spend 5 years doing it? Also, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's laid out. There's a template. It's easy. You can change it once you know more what you're doing in things, but
Totally.
to just get going,
Yeah, get it out the door. Yep.
total like blessing.
Yeah.
And you still got to do the work, but don't pass it by. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's scary. And for some people, it's like, it's money, it's money, it's money. It is. But if you actually do it, if you follow the steps, you're going to get it back
Yeah.
tenfold. And like, it takes time, takes a minute. You got to work,
Yeah.
but you can do it. And it's definite. Like, I would not have gotten as far as I have in the last year and a half without Preschool All Stars.
Mm.
Definitely no.
You wouldn't be signing a building, feeling so good that, "Hey, it's okay. I can move in a couple months. I'm good."
Like hey, it's scary. It is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
who, but it's so
Right.
exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wouldn't even dream. Like, I would probably be like, oh my gosh, I only have 2 kids. How am
Right.
I going to make this continue to work? Because I have made it work, but if I didn't, I would be in a position where it's like, all right, Kara, when are you going to go back and to get a full time job? Because
Right.
it's 2023 and one income barely helps you
Yeah.
survive, right? You know,
Totally.
so, but yeah, it's just, yeah, Preschool All Stars all the way. And this is how dedicated I am. I not only have been an all-star for a year and a half, but I'm actually prepaid from previous challenges through 2025. Okay. I am
She
prepaid
is,
two
let me say
years.
that, I don't think they heard that. She is prepaid all the way through 2025 because she just kept buying all of our promotions, and she's like, "Well, I just wanna save as much as possible, so let's just keep it going."
Yeah. So I don't have to pay till like June 2025.
That all the money is going into the building fund. Okay, but let's conclude this real quick. We heard about your beginning, where you were when you found me, and completely like burned out 70-hour weeks, marriage struggling, mom life, all the things really struggling. And now, what's your life like now?
It's still hard work, but it's happy hard work.
Mm,
And when I get to a certain point, I'm in control and I get to put it down and I can dedicate certain things where I want them to without having to be like, "Ooh, I have a meeting first or this or
yeah.
that." Like today I had a greet and meet Zoom call with a new mom for the Done For You classes while I was sitting in the car at car pickup to get my kindergartner.
Nice.
Like, making money, sitting in the car with the
Yeah,
2-year-old in the back seat, or
right.
3-year-old, sorry, he's 3
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But, there's I don't wanna say balance because I feel like everything's always a little bit
Yep.
eh,
Yeah.
um, but there's more time for me to choose how I spend the time and
Mm,
more time for me to choose joy in those moments
yeah.
rather than like the old Kara, the old wife me, the old mom me would have been like, no, focus. I have 20 minutes to spend with you and then I have to go.
Wow.
And that's also crummy as a mom to feel that way. Like, I hated it.
Mhm.
I hated it. And so now I get to be like, okay, it's Mama Bubba Monday because Finley has school. Where are we going for lunch?
Yeah, yeah.
What are we going to do for this?
Cool.
Let's go to the library. My
Yeah.
children had never been to a library story time until
Oh, it
our
makes me
life
so
changes.
happy.
Like,
Yeah.
those little things that
Mm,
me growing up, I really valued and loved, and
yeah.
I always felt like even on Saturday, like, if there was a Saturday one, it would be at, like, 9 a.m., and I'm like, "I I just worked on
I know.
oh,
I just went to sleep.
I just went to sleep. I know it's Saturday, but I
I
don't
know.
wanna take you to the library right now." I'm
Yeah.
like so it's it really is those little things that I get to
Yeah.
say, "We can do that now. We
Yeah.
can have" it's still hard work. I still have to put the time in. I do still have to say, "Okay, I love you. Good night. Mommy's gonna go downstairs and work and do her stuff," and I have to teach preschool during the day but I'm in control of it.
Yeah.
I get to determine what things I'm going to be focusing on.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and is there anything else you'd like to share before we conclude?
Um, I think the biggest things that I always kind of keep on the like front of my mind for people is just stay consistent and trust the process.
Mhm.
Don't don't try to skip around, even as having done this for a while. If I want
Yeah.
to go edit something, a lot of times I have to go but like two guides before to
Sure.
figure out where like okay, I only need to fix this one thing.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
now, I can't just I got to kind of reset myself.
Yeah.
Um uh and stay consistent, follow the steps. There was something else I forgot. That's okay. It's been a long day.
No, you said trust the process. Yeah, I
Trust
think
the
you got
process.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just stay consistent and be creative a little bit.
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite things just on the marketing factor is I use QR codes a lot. I get
Yeah.
way more people signing up for emails and
Cool.
things using little QR codes. I'll leave them on tables at restaurants.
Yeah.
I'll put them out wherever. Get creative. And
Yeah.
it can be cheap or free type stuff. Like I just print
Mm.
them off at home. No big
Love
deal.
that.
But yeah, and just consistency because even in my own things, I've noticed when I stop, that's when things stop. It might take a
That's
day or
true.
two more, but it
Yep.
does. It
Yeah.
stops. So give yourself breaks, pace yourself, but be consistent.
Awesome. Well, Kara, we are so excited. We're cheering you on for your upcoming building. Keep us posted in All Stars, all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thanks much.